sky, looking at you. I can read your mind. I am the maker of rules, dealing with fools. I can cheat you blind. I am the eye in the sky, looking at you. I can read your mind. I am the maker of rules, dealing with fools. I can cheat you blind.
Anyway, so I got ChatGPT 4. I paid for it, and it was like some deal. Like if you're an employee with who we work for, you get some kind of deal. But anyway, So what I was doing when I first got ChatGPT 4 was on my drives home, I would have conversations with it. Now, you guys ever seen The Thing? The movie The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so if you haven't seen The
Wait,
Thing...
they're in Antarctica, right? Yeah.
They're in Antarctica, they find a spaceship, and they find an alien that's in the city.
No. So they don't find the spaceship.
How dare you contradict? I know they find...
Wait. There's two of them.
There's the sequel, the prequel that came out more recently.
No. There's an old one from the 50s, and then there's one with Kurt Russell.
The one with Kurt Russell is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, there's one. So yeah, The Thing is because my dad loves The Thing, and I'm pretty sure there's one from the 50s. We'll have to get the old man to verify this, but I think there's one from the 80s.
So there is, The Thing. The one from the 50s isn't called The Thing though. I think it's called something else.
Nah, we have we're talking about ChatGPT here, and we got fucking Google on our phones.
I don't know. Anyway, so what I would do, you guys are familiar with The Thing by John Carpenter.
Yeah,
and the prequel, the 2011 spaceship. Yeah, they find a spaceship, but they find a alien in the ground. You're right. In the one of the is it the 80s?
Did you just call it a graboid?
No, the graboid's from Tremors.
Okay,
come on, pop culture. Anyway, they find this alien and they take it back to their camp they're in Antarctica. So they take it back to their camp, and then it thaws out from the ice block they find it in or whatever. Like, that's the prequel I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they find this alien, it's frozen, then it thaws, and then it starts infecting people, taking over their bodies, and then nobody can trust who the fuck is in their camp and who's an alien, who's not. Anyway, so if you're familiar with that movie, what I spent my time with ChatGPT doing was, on the way home, I would have conversations with it about, hypothetically, what would be my best course of action to avoid, the way I set the question up was, if I was in the plot in real life of John Carpenter's The Thing, what would be my best courses of action to survive that encounter with that alien? And it would go off. It would 10 points about how you need to isolate the thing and the odds of it, depending on if you had 24 hours without you guys knowing what it was, and the odds of it likely infecting somebody in your party, and then who it would most likely infect. It was crazy, dude. So I would have conversations like that. So it's super. That's how I use the most sophisticated technology we have.
Wait, dude, how much is it? It's an app on your phone?
Yeah, ChatGPT 4.
How much does it cost?
It was $25 or something like that.
Total? done? $25
for a year.
Okay.
And then it renews. Yeah.
Dude, I hate that they've made everything subscription now.
Everything, yeah.
It's if you told me it was hey, $100, $100 and I'm done and out, I would probably
Negative, Dan. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know that, the Klaus Schwab line, you'll own nothing and be happy, think about it. They've already done it. Netflix, you don't own those movies. Spotify, you don't own that music. If that crashes, the app goes away, all that.
Amazon. When you buy stuff on Amazon, I think they have the right to revoke it as well.
Yeah, but you own the stuff you buy off Amazon.
No. I'm talking about digital stuff, like movies.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so that stuff, your digital libraries and all that shit, you own nothing. It's more convenient, so you are happy. So Klaus Schwab was right. But everyone should realize that's the insidious nature of the society we live in, where you don't actually own anything, All
right, just a point of clarification. It was titled "The Thing from Another World," 1951. It's actually I've seen it. It's actually pretty good. So if you haven't checked it out and you want to see an old movie, "The Thing from Another World," 1951. Then you had The Thing in the 80s with Kurt Russell.
Fucking phenomenal.
Phenomenal fucking movie. And then there was a 2011, which I can't recall seeing, but
it was good. It was pretty good.
Pretty good.
There's a sequel to Kurt Russell.
I can't name anybody who acted in that movie. Oh no, Brie Larson. No, is it Brie Larson?
No,
it's the one. She's in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. She's
Ramona.
Sister? Ramona Flowers.
Oh.
What's her name?
Was that Brie Larson?
No, Brie Larson's the singer. His girl, Eve.
Oh,
Ivy,
yeah.
or whatever,
Brie
Eve
Larson.
Envy.
Brie Larson.
Yeah,
Captain
she's
Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, woke as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you gonna Google it? See,
Um,
nobody knows
IMDb.
anything anymore. I don't know how to spell anything anymore because cell phones have ruined that. I don't know.
I was right on the thing.
No, you and I were both right.
Dude, I'm so bad at spelling that I can't even get close enough to the word where it will autocorrect for me sometimes.
Dude, right there is like kind of like a small thing. Like back before we had the sum of human knowledge in our hand at all time, right? We would get into arguments like this all the time. Like I remember the one time I got into an argument about like
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
how many sacks Warren Sapp
Yeah, I
had
never got
in a year, and like you wouldn't be able to just instantaneously know it.
Dude, I have no idea how this podcast is going to go, if you're going to get picked up on these mics or not.
All right.
You might have to just swing it back and forth.
No, I don't want to talk that much.
This is a case for 3 mics.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
If only the host was
I know.
We'll see. I'm trying to be loud.
Well, I was always thinking about interviewing, like, three people is beyond my skill set. I can handle wrangling Dan by himself, but not Dan and somebody else.
All right, I'll be quiet. I'll tone it down. I'll let Miller
Dude,
go here.
if you want to say something, just pull a mic over. That's what it's. You guys got the swivel arm. Which
Right.
I broke my swivel arm.
Listen, we're not veterans of the podcast world. We need to be directed.
Yeah. So anyway, Dave, who the fuck are you? Why are you sitting on my casting couch? How old are you? Hold the driver's license up.
I don't get that reference at all.
Me neither.
Yep. David, I work with Mark and Dan.
Work. Loose
Get
word.
get paid by the same organization
Yes.
as Mark and Dan.
That's accurate.
37 years old, 6'1". I'm like our friend Devin Larson,
What's your sign?
Aquarius.
We're gonna have to edit out his last name. We try to keep everyone.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it rhymes with Carson. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm here because you couldn't find anyone else.
I'm desperate, clearly. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I first met you when we were in a detail together, where we were
I
basically
think, yeah. Yeah,
watching
we're doing-
computer screens.
Yep.
Yeah. Fleer. Anyway, but yeah, so during that time, there was something shitty that was going on. I don't know if you remember what it was.
Yeah, actually, so yeah, you were working with or in the same vicinity, not on the same detail when we first met.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was when the whole COVID vaccine rollout was going on.
Yeah. Did you get it?
I did not.
Damn, I was hoping you were gonna. There's a
So,
real chance he might stroke out right now.
so funny story. Back when I was on a previous detail and the vaccine was first coming out and they were bribing everyone with days off if you got it, I was like, sweet, days off. I'm going to go get it. And I actually went, and the place that I went to, they ran out that day, thank goodness. And they were like, hey, yeah, sorry, we're all, we don't have any more. You can come back later. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And me being lazy, I never did. And then as I started doing more research,
Which one were you gonna get? Do you remember?
whichever one they had,
All right.
I did a lot of research going into it.
Of course.
As you can tell.
Just shoot it in my arm. Who cares?
I mean, the government told me it was safe, so obviously.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You had good reason to think. it
Yeah,
was safe.
and then I, just never went back for it. I think at one point I got COVID, and so I was like, okay, well, natural immunity. I don't need anything now.
Coincidentally, you would have got it had you gotten the vaccine anyway.
Most likely, most likely. I mean, fortunately, I'll never know.
That's true. It could have been. It would have been less bad, or
Or
half as
worse.
bad. Or yeah, well,
Or worse, there are studies that show that it actually is worse.
that's the stupidest fucking argument they would put out when they're like, "Oh well, if you I know you got COVID when you had the vaccine, but it would have been twice as bad, or it would have been worse." It's like, how the fuck do you know that? Because plenty of people who didn't have the vaccine got it and it was fine. Like,
Yeah.
Swing it over, Dan.
So I actually did a presentation at like 2 law firms about this. They changed the definition of vaccine. I still have the PowerPoint where I did it. They changed the definition of vaccine from a product that confers immunity to a preparation that stimulates the immune system. So it's not even a vaccine by the all the case law that you go back. It's not a vaccine. All they did was change the definition. This goes back to our last podcast where we were talking about how they just changed the meaning of a word. Right? That's all they did. So it goes from a product that confers immunity to a preparation that stimulates the immune system.
Wow.
Yeah. So they blatantly knew it wasn't going to stop you.
Huh. That's not good. You know, why would they have done that? I wonder. Yeah. So anyway, you go to get the vaccine and it doesn't, they don't have it. So you don't get it.
Correct.
You know, so some people might say you dodged a bullet or a stroke, whatever.
Or a heart attack.
Or a heart attack or you know, some kind of complication.
Yeah, Bell's palsy, anything.
Yeah. So what did you think about how they treated everybody who either refused or didn't get it?
Well, I mean, for the most part, throughout the workday, in my experience, they treated pretty much everyone the same. You still were required to wear masks, whether people actually wore masks or not.
Yeah.
You were still, if you had a exposure, you still got, mandatory weather safety leave, whether you had the vaccine or not. The only thing that I experienced that was different was that obviously they threatened termination for anyone that did not get the vaccine.
And I was like, hey, yeah, I'm not getting it, and you can fire me. That's where I was at. I've talked about red lines. There's certain red lines that I have, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just not going to do it. I'm all about being upfront about, like, hey, this is how it's going to be. I don't think people should really hide it. And that's part of my problem with this whole entire COVID thing was they were trying to be so shady the entire fucking time with it. They were trying to hide, what we're going to do or this. Nothing was truthful. Nothing was forthright on their part the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% the fucking case. I mean, people were like, oh, well, you only knew that because of hindsight's 2020. It's like, no. Back in the end of 2020, like I already knew it was giving people AIDS or whatever. It was like
alleged AIDS.
Alleged. Oh no, I have a phone right here, dude. It was allegedly giving people AIDS, or at least destroying their immune system. Whatever we want to call it. But like all that information was out there. Like who were the people that were getting affected? It was people with multiple comorbidities, like whether you're obese, have like diabetes or some kind of comorbidities. That information was out pretty fucking quick. It
was pretty much the same with all diseases. It's the elderly, the massively overweight and obese, the already very sickly, people who have lung issues already, not the young and the healthy. And like unlike the flu, which does primarily target babies, kids, people, minors, if you will.
Yeah.
This one is like, it was like almost impossible. Granted, there are a few occasions where kids did die from COVID, but again, I mean, they didn't list the comorbidities on those kids. But as soon as I found out that it was like,
but it was like a small number.
No, it was like extremely small.
Crazy small number.
It was so small that it was like each one was a headline.
Yeah.
And like once I found that out, I was like, okay, sweet. My kids are never getting this vaccine.
So you have like a different perspective, at least a different line to this because your dad does something relevant, right?
Yeah. So my dad is a doctor, just a regular general practitioner who you go to for checkups.
The birds when I pee, that's who I go see?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he is I'm from a rural area in Virginia, so he's who you would go see for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So it could help you with those spots that you developed.
Would you say West Virginia is best Virginia?
I would absolutely not say that.
Really? Which side was Virginia on in the
War of Northern Aggression?
Yeah, War of Northern Aggression.
We were on the states' rights side.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. So what was your dad like? Is he telling you, hey, you need to go get this?
No, he was extremely adamant not to get the vaccine. And I did have some family members who did get it, either because they needed it, well, they were told they were required it for their work or for school or things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, just like us. And then fortunately I was working with Dan the same time I met you, and Dan was a big factor in me not getting the vaccine just because he knows all the ins and outs for the place that we work, and knowing what avenues we need to go down to get to contest and fight things like getting fired for not taking an experimental jab.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, that was like the fear. So I don't know, Dan, if you want to answer this, were you afraid that they were going to fire anybody for this?
No. I was staring right down the howitzer on that one. The idea, and this goes for anything really. You don't need like even 50% of the people, right, for an organization. If you get like 20, I'll throw a 25% out there. If you get 25, 1 out of 4 people to be like, fuck this, I'm not doing this, they can't do it. Like the organization will be crippled.
Yeah, because imagine they lose 20% of the workforce,
dude. Overnight, yeah. And the way it was breaking down too, it's like it wasn't the dudes that were sitting up in the ivory tower that were like. It was the actual people that do things, right? Yeah. Like, and that's another thing about society. It's like, oh yeah, you got your managers or your command, right? That are doing, and then you have the people that actually do what the job. And I was just looking at it and knowing how the system works. I was like, there's no way. It would take years. It would take years for it to all to squirt out, and it just wasn't going to be feasible as long as we had numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was my experience as well. I guess that makes a lot of sense. It was pretty much the guys that, I don't know, I wonder why that is. It was the guys like that were workers that, except me, that were the ones that were like, nah. Because I think when you're in positions like that, when you're a worker, like, like when we go to the field, like it's easy to see what matters. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter like, am I in regs right now? Does my uniform look right? Like, is everything on my vest green and not black, which is technically policy. And I only know that because I'm,
do I have any unauthorized patches?
Do I have any authorized patches? Person? It's like, no, I got to jump a group right now. I have to tell, maybe 10, 20, 15 males to get on the ground and they're not going to want to do it. I'm going to have to grab them. So when you have to deal with shit like that, like, I think it's easy to see what's important and what really matters and what's a real risk. Risk assessment is what I mean. Like your risk assessment is pretty on point when you're doing that. Seriously, Pull it back. I'm sorry, dude. We got to get on the mic.
A part of it too, I think, is the people that, and this is what you're seeing all throughout society. This is not just our organization. The people that get promoted are the yes men. The people that will, the CEO wants it done this way. He's not going to have a VP that's chirping in his ear that he's fucked up, and then the VP is not going to have 2 executives beneath him, right? So it's kind of this groupthink that goes on when you the more and more, especially the longer you don't bring in outside talent into an organization, you get like that groupthink. So I think a lot of these agencies, businesses, whatnot, this has been captured by this groupthink, right? So that's what I think happens on this. Like,
if that's true, how did you resist, David? Are you not a yes man?
No. Well, no. A lot of the males in my family are very argumentative.
What is a male?
A lot of the people that were signed male at birth
there we go.
in my family are argumentative. We will argue as one point of view, even if we don't agree in it. We like to play the devil's advocate.
So you have a disagreeable nature already.
There we go.
Yeah.
And also I do not like the government telling me what I can and cannot do. So as soon as they said, okay, you have to take this vaccine that has been around for a year for this virus that you already contracted and have natural immunity to.
Yeah.
And there have been no long-term studies on any of the health effects or side effects for this vaccine.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, it is predominantly killing only the elderly and the people that have comorbidities, and even then, it's only 1 in 100 or less.
Yeah.
And if you don't take it, you're going to lose your job. No, thank you.
And you had, other than doing CrossFit, you didn't have any comorbidities, right?
No.
Yeah, so I guess it makes sense, right? Like if you don't, if you just do the math, like you look who's dying, you look, and you know your own situation, like you're right. Like the government, that's the a problem with them is they think they know what's best for people for some reason, and nobody knows what's best for you than you. Right? Yeah. So like, and your dad, he wasn't telling you.
No, and then actually, I don't know if I ever told you this, through all of my dad's advocacy on not taking any of the COVID jabs.
He didn't get one.
He did not get one. No,
Yeah.
neither did my mom.
Didn't they come after doctors for that?
They did. And through that whole thing, my dad is no longer employed by the hospital that he was.
Yeah.
He was not exactly fired. It was more like they parted. They were like, it was an amicable divorce.
No, we decided to go a different way.
Yeah. But through all of that, my dad actually met and has become good friends with Dr. Robert Malone,
Oh shit.
who,
Yeah.
as you probably know, actually helped develop the mRNA
He holds
delivery.
the most patents.
Yeah. He actually helped
And
develop the
mRNA
mRNA delivery system.
It's mRNA. I was RNA, right? Because I
RNA.
always say MNRA for whatever reason. I'm retarded. That's why.
But anyways, Dr. Malone is the one who actually developed this technology or helped develop it, and he is completely against
Yeah.
the COVID jabs as well.
Yeah. Weird, right? Like he was, and that was early. He came out early.
Very
I mean, so your dad knows him.
Yeah.
Dude, that's dope. Yeah. So if the guy who holds the most patents in mRNA technology is saying like, hey, this was never meant for mass distribution or for all these people, and they were like, well, now you're banned from Twitter. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they just what was the other guy? It's Robert Malone, the other cardiologist. What's his name?
Pierre Corey.
Peter McCullough?
Peter McCullough,
Peter
yeah.
McCullough.
Pierre Corey is another one.
Pierre Corey is one, but
Yeah.
Peter McCullough was another one. He's like is like a famous cardiologist that was like, hey guys, starting to see some myocarditis linked to this. I mean, all these young men that are, I'm treating, like, yeah. So I started watching all these people.
So actually,
Yeah.
just on that subject, I heard on one of the other podcasts I listened to that there's been, like through a FOIA request or something, they actually found a CDC study that came out, like the study was conducted on the U.S. military right when these, right when the mandates were rolling out, that actually showed a high link between the jab and myocarditis.
Is it like Moderna, Pfizer? Does it,
I think it was just in general.
general.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was one or the other, but it was, hey, we're seeing a link, but we're still going to roll out the mandates.
See, I wonder, didn't like 200 Marines get discharged over that shit? Or like a certain number of them.
I don't know about Marines in general, but I know a lot of military, even someone that, recently started working with us,
Yeah.
was let go from the Air Force because he did not get the jab.
Yeah, that's right. The National Guard guys they're still forced to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, man, if you're still getting that thing by now, I mean, you really have to not be paying attention.
Yeah.
Wait. They're still making people get
There's a certain female that we used to work with in there. They gave her a lot of shit. I know. That wasn't that long ago.
in the National Guard.
National Guard, yeah.
What?
But that was also, I think she got it before she came to work with us.
Okay.
But yeah,
They wouldn't let her go on the.
They wouldn't let her.
So it's not like they're maybe making them get it, but hey, you can't do anything.
I mean, like, again, that was also, she probably was forced to get it 1.5, 2 years ago at this point.
Okay.
Which,
Yeah,
I mean, still.
That's still well beyond where people should have been getting it.
Yeah, which was, they never should have been mandated, but.
Well, obviously. So what is your objection to the government mandating it?
Government mandates in general or this specific one?
Either.
I'm a reasonably intelligent individual. No one cares more about me than me, except for possibly my wife and parents and children. I'm not gonna, if I think I need to get a vaccine, I'll go out and take it. You don't need to bribe me or threaten me to take something that is obviously, if COVID was bad enough where it needed a mandate, as in, it was killing, let's say, even 1 in 10 people.
Yeah.
Then I think people would have gone out and got the jab on their own.
I don't think they would have needed the level of propaganda.
No, they wouldn't have.
Case.
Not even close.
Because it's about convincing people,
Yeah.
right? Like, I wasn't convinced, so,
Didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the reason why I wanted to talk to you about it was one, because your dad's a doctor, but two, it's like it's still relevant because people forget what it was like. Because so many people just got the one of the jabs and just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I have my vaccine passport, or I told my employer, I showed him my card or whatever.
Or I went and got my my vaccine card tattooed on my shoulder.
Or I got my I saw a fucking thing the other day of somebody still like their 5th booster. Like, how is that still?
Dude, I was out at dinner last night and we're at a restaurant in town. Outside in the outside seating, there was someone who I'm gonna assume their gender.
Yeah.
But it was a female in an N95 mask sitting outside from someone about as far apart as you and me.
Yeah.
And they were eating, and this person had an N95 mask on.
I still see them driving in their fucking cars.
I did see one in a mask driving in a car yesterday or the day before. I couldn't tell if it was N95 or just a surgical mask.
Ugh.
But I mean, if you know anything about N95s, they're not made to, put on, take it off, and then put it back on.
I mean, I had training with it, but I don't know about
that loses the seal. It's like, even like talking for it too much, like it's going to loosen the seal, and it's not going to protect you from whatever you think it's going to.
So you know what? One of my favorite insult for like the cultist left nowadays, like if I'm trying to like jerk them off, is like don't forget to get your booster.
Don't forget to get.
I do all the time. If I get like a real asshole, like I'm like, hey, sir, ma'am, make sure you get your booster, please.
It's like a subtle jab.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah, dude. I mean, I know this seems very 2022, but like that whole, it's relevant because like the amount of people that caved, or the amount of people that acquiesced, whatever, like everybody, like it was the majority of people, right? Like, so a lot of people have this like idea, like, oh, well, the most people they'll side with freedom. They're Americans, but that's just not the case, dude. That's not what we saw during COVID. I mean,
Well, I mean, I think that COVID in particular helped people see that, the government, or at least parts of the government, don't always have your best interest at heart.
Yeah. I mean, there's been countless examples of that, like you could point to, but that was a real obvious one that people just couldn't hide.
Yeah, but I mean, also it's like with this, like, yeah, we've had the internet, we can go back and search for it, but
yeah,
I mean, anyone with people with smartphones, they're looking at, TikTok or Instagram, or, playing games on their phone. They're not going back and looking at stuff. I mean, guilty. I'm playing games on my phone 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, we're in such a, 24-hour news cycle. Everything is very apparent. Like everything, or most things can be readily seen, whether it fits the narrative or not. But also, I mean, we live through this, so it's.
Well, that's why you have Anthony Fauci coming out saying, like, I never advocated for lockdowns.
Hey, sir, he is science, okay?
Well, yeah, he
Watch
is.
your mouth.
The science used to say at one point, we have to lock down. It's the only way. Like it's the only way to protect people. And what do you want your grandma to die? Of course, we have to lock down.
Oh no! Best part, when COVID was first coming out, was first getting widespread and known. Anthony Fauci, oh no, surgical masks won't do anything, because he lied to the public because he wanted to.
On record.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said this. He didn't want the healthcare people to run out of masks. So he told everybody they don't work. Yeah.
So he knowingly lied to people, knowing they'd be exposed to what he believes is a deadly virus.
And then a few months later, it's like, oh no, everyone has to have a mask on. And we're going to just pick this random number, 6 foot separation between people to prevent the spread.
Completely was random, right?
It was completely random. They admitted within the past year.
Zero science. They admitted it.
It's just a number they picked up.
Dude, that is bananas. Because that was like, we had tape in our fucking muster room, remember? Like when you're getting your equipment, you just like this little fucking blue tape.
Everywhere. I mean, wait in line to get to Trader Joe's.
Oh my God. So.
And then also, he admitted recently that, oh yeah, the surgical masks don't do anything.
Yeah, of course not. But they, so, oh, there he is. So it's funny that he'll say, I never advocated for lockdowns, because people forget, like OnlyFans girls, the internet is forever. The internet's forever.
Hey,
it's
there are guys on
forever.
OnlyFans too.
Well, I mean, you want to plug your page, go ahead. I'm just saying, like, dude, if if you're gonna lie about that, like I'm one of those people that thinks Anthony Fauci should have repercussions, like serious repercussions, because for me this shit winds me up, because there are people whose loved ones, whose family, we work with some of them, their friends died in the hospital and they could not be in the room with them because of fucking COVID. Like they were like, oh, it's so dangerous, it'll kill everybody or whatever they thought. So that they had to watch some families had to say goodbye over iPads and FaceTime, which is, somebody should pay a price for that, in my opinion. You know, and I don't know what that means. I mean, hey, let's have tribunals, let's have fucking courts or whatever, but for the fact that Anthony Fauci is just walking around out there is unacceptable, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Not saying what anyone should do about it, but I mean, I'm just saying.
I do really like how the science said that you needed the mask as you walked through the restaurant to your seat, but once you sat down, the mask could come off and you were completely fine.
Yeah, it turns out that COVID is allergic to chicken parmesan. So if you have chicken parmesan, you're totally safe.
And complimentary bread rolls.
Yeah, endless bread rolls. Yeah. Yeah, dude, that was bananas. There were so many things that happened throughout that was just like, oh, you guys are all full of shit. You know, I happen to know from because I've been a psycho for a long time, that the U.S. government and everyone understood this until 10 minutes ago, that the fucking pharmaceutical companies do not give a shit about you. You know? Oh, here comes Dan.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing to me. Like the left, that used to be a big left talking.
Yeah.
100%.
Right, and that has gone out the window.
Yeah.
Like how they have managed to capture that and like take that Occupy Wall Street. Like you want to see, like, we talk psyop. That's the fucking textbook definition.
That's what black pills me the most, dude. Is how many people they were able to
Dude,
fucking
think
turn.
about Rage Against the Machine, the biggest anti-establishment.
Rage for the Machine. You mean.
Yes. Well, they did change their name within the past 4 years.
They should. Yeah, killing in the name of meant like Pfizer. They're killing in the name of Pfizer. It's big bananas, dude.
Pfizer.
Yeah, dude. Like, how many fucking people just lost their goddamn minds because they were scared? Like, people were so afraid. And it's, what's that Franklin quote or Jefferson? Those who will trade freedom for safety.
Franklin, yeah. Those who would trade freedom for safety
deserve neither.
Yeah, we'll get. Yeah, deserve neither.
Yeah, yeah, and you saw people were afraid what they would do. They gave up everything for immediately. Like,
most people did, yeah.
The vast majority.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people? So, like Dan was saying, like 25% is generous. Like I would say maybe 20%, and then of that 20%, if people got pushed, like they were like, we're terminating anyone who's not vaccinated. Probably it would be less than 15. 10% maybe.
I mean, to Dan's point, I think that would still hurt, and then. That would still hurt them. I mean, they'd probably get over it.
10%. It's like the Matrix. There's certain levels of
acceptable losses.
Yeah, we're prepared to accept. Yeah. I mean, because that's if there's 15 to 18,000 of us. I don't even know what it is anymore. So 1,500 agents. They lose.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might have been willing to do that. So let's say if they did that, I think a lot of people would have caved. That's why it's important to have principles and morals, and why I wanted to talk to you about. Because like Dan, I know where Dan stands on this, but I don't know why you chose to not. Like, did you think there was a possibility? You thought there was no possibility.
I was not as confident as Dan was.
Well, yeah, because Dan's a madman.
I did have at least one family member say, one of the ones that ended up caving and getting the jab, say, it's not worth losing your job, but at the same time, like I told him that, hey, it's the principle of the fact, like you can't force something like this down on your citizens.
So what is the foundational principle? Why? Like why? Yeah.
Individual responsibility.
Okay.
Accountability.
Okay.
Real quick here, we talk about building your community, your neighborhood, your team, right?
Yeah.
Good metric here, people. If the person caved to the COVID-19 vaccine, if they cave to it, may want to double check on him.
Here he comes.
Oh, we got the big bird. May want to double check on him before letting him into your team, right? Just the heads. Oh.
Now, that being said, I do know people that we work with, and other people just out in general who got the jab right back when it first rolled out. They're like, hey, yeah, sure, whatever. It's convenience, or hey, I'll take the days off. And then the mandates came down. And you're like, oh, if I knew they were going to mandate this, never would have gotten.
That's somebody who has no idea about any of the history of the fucking pharmaceutical companies or the U.S. government.
Again, people are dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm first to admit, I told you, I went to go get it.
Yeah.
I wanted the days off. I was dumb and lazy.
Yeah. So my foundational principles is, like let's say the non-aggression principle, for example. Are you familiar with the non-aggression principle?
No, tell me.
Okay, so the non-aggression principle is an idea in like libertarian philosophies that you shouldn't initiate force against peaceful people, right? So if I'm peacefully existing in my job, in my life, I'm just hanging out doing my thing, and someone's like, you got to get this vaccine to do something, and if you don't do it, I'm forcibly going to stop you from doing it. Like, that would be a violation of the non-aggression principle. And I own in private property rights because I own my body. I think, like, my body is mine.
Your body, your choice.
Well, yeah, my body, my choice. You know what I mean? So, like, if someone's going to tell me what to do with my body, it's like, well, if they have that right, then who owns my body? Oh, there he goes. Yeah, welcome. It's my dog Trogdor. Yeah, so it was easy for me. I knew what I was going to do. I mean, I knew before there was this mandate about a vaccine. I knew those were my principles from the get-go, Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're saying what stopped you from getting the vaccine was you believe in individual this guy. So he's going to be 150 pounds and he thinks he's a lap dog. Like,
I'm going to train him to be a lap dog every time we go over here.
All right. Yeah. It's going to be a problem when he's a fucking monster. Anyway, so if you're saying individual responsibility and is a principle of yours that kept you from doing it, okay. Like, you believe that up until being fired, you would be fired for personal responsibility?
I was willing to lose my job for it.
Okay.
Granted, it was also, I did get a little bit of a stiffer backbone from talking with Dan about it and realizing that, hey, we can drag this out for years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is a good argument. And yeah, lawfare would definitely have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess like what you guys were saying, what Dan said is true. That is a good metric that I have with the people who caved, because you know who, like you said, the people who got it, who didn't know any better, were like, oh, it's a new virus. This is a vaccine. Like what we commonly understood were vaccines. Okay, it makes sense for me to get it. But the people who knew what it was and didn't want it and then caved to the pressure and got it, those are the people that will be loading people onto boxcars to Auschwitz.
So I go on both directions. Like the ones that weren't even questioning it, like, I get it. You and I are pretty deep in on it, but like that didn't raise any hair. That throws me off. Is like that the danger sense, the spidey sense didn't go up on that at all.
Yeah. And
then, like you said, the ones that cave, like in the end, they'll be like, I was just following orders.
Yeah,
I didn't know where the trains were going.
But the people who didn't, the people who didn't cave, they at least have the possibility of, once they learn, they could be like, I'm not okay with this. I don't want to do it. But the people who know and still do it, those are the ones I think are the most guilty. And I don't mean like guilty, like, I just mean they're the most clearly, they'll just follow orders.
So more like background on me, like my train of thought, at least going into it in the beginning, was like, just like the flu shot, which now I'm against because I've done more research.
Yeah.
But just like the flu shot, doctors, because I'm used to my dad. Okay, my dad's a doctor. He does a bunch of research all on his own. So
calm down. Your dad was in your life all the time, all right?
I assumed, I guess fraudulently, that most doctors will go out and do their own independent research. They'll look at different studies and whatnot. So, and I mean, we can go deep dive into this more too. Like, just like when your kid's pediatrician tells you, all right, this is the vaccine schedule. Yeah. I was like, okay, I trust my doctor. Yeah. So, dude, go get it.
We didn't vaccinate. So we vaccinated my son. He got like the hepatitis, which is
the sexually transmitted.
Yeah, the sexually transmitted. Why are they giving children that? Like, if you test the mother and she's negative for all that, why would you give them a hepatitis virus or a vaccine?
Yeah.
But they want to inject these kids with all kinds of shit like that they could choose as adults to get if they wanted to. Mm. Same thing with circumcision. I know that's controversial, but I didn't circumcise my son. I mean, maybe that's not okay for me to say, but I didn't circumcise my son because
you had a bad experience, or
they took too much. No, I'm just kidding. But because like there's no medical reason to do it. There's not. I mean, I get the religious reason. I'm an atheist, so if you're a Jewish person or a Christian, I get it. Like why you would circumcise yourself if you believe you're commanded to do that. through some book. But I didn't have that. And there is no medical reason that I found that was compelling that I'm like, okay, I will inflict this pain on my son justly. You know, like other than it looks better. I would say I don't know what your guys' stance is on it, but anyway, so yeah, my whole thing is the vaccine thing for children. We did not. Our daughter is 0. She's living life raw, and she does better when they get sick. She usually does better. I'm not saying that's why, but
so
I think about it.
My sisters have they through all of this, we've gone through it, me and my sisters, and I don't know about my brother, but me and my sisters have all rethought the how many vaccines they give kids nowadays. There's a book that I need to finish reading called The Vaccine Friendly Plan by Dr. Paul Thomas, who was it was
written by Pfizer.
No. So before you knock it, so this guy is actually advocating for less vaccines for children.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm reading the book.
So he wants kids.
I'm not reading the book for saying to convince me to give my kids more jabs.
Yeah.
But no, he is or was a pediatrician growing up through the 80s or working through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and he noticed that he's been practicing medicine on primarily children for 30, 40 years. Okay. And he has seen, each year how many more vaccines they get. Compared to the handful that we got being born in the 80s, Dan born in the 1880s. But and he's also seen there are points in the book, I'm not very far into it, but points where he sees perfectly healthy children and then they get vaccines that he was told are healthy to give them. So he recommends them and gives them to the children, and then the next time he sees them, 6 months, a year later, whatever, they're just acting completely different. They're just showing signs of autism.
Yeah, I know that was Robert Kennedy's deal there. Mm-hmm. That he was hip to this because a lot of mothers were coming to him. I forget what vaccines it was even about. But anyone who knows the histories of vaccines, there's been quite a few scandals with them. I mean, with thimerosal that was in them, a preservative that was clearly linked to kids being born without limbs and shit. So
he was just in Tucson the other day. I went and saw him.
Oh yeah,
him and Jesse Ventura, and the stat that he dropped was in his generation, so the Boomer generation, he was 1 out of every 10,000 people had full autism, meaning not toilet trainable, the whole spectrum. 1 out of 10,000. Yeah. Now it's 1 out of every 33. So something is going on in our environment. That's not
to say vaccines, but
something's going on. But you can point to the vaccines on a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm not educated enough to know.
I know, but here's the thing: where there's smoke, there's fire. Yeah, right. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So there's definitely a shit ton of smoke.
Now, also, it might not be 100% vaccines. It definitely could be a contributing factor, but I mean, also you got to look at all the crap that we ingest nowadays. Everything's processed.
Microplastics.
Everything, everything's fake. Everything is, we're going to take, these seeds and, you might normally throughout your year eat a couple hundred seeds, but we're going to put it, make the seeds into oil, canola oil, a vegetable oil, and just it takes thousands and millions of seeds for 1 bottle of oil. Yeah. And by the way, we're going to bleach it, and we're going to add different scent, ferment. We're going to ferment it. We're going to add different scents to it, just so that it's palatable.
We're going to dye it a specific color too. Yeah, just like in nature.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you see people
dude, you know what pissed me off, man? I was trying to buy pickles for my son. He loves pickles. And dude, 90% of the pickles out there have yellow fucking dye in there. Why are you dyeing pickles? Who gives a shit what color pickles are? I don't care. No. And I'm not, maybe it has zero effect, but why are you adding something that doesn't need to be added? I don't know. Maybe they did some market research and yellow pickles get bought more or whatever. I don't know. But my wife turned me on to cloud seeding and stuff, which I thought,
What's that?
Cloud seeding? It's basically Monsanto is up in the skies just throwing out seeds outside of airplanes and trying to create clouds. It's not really that, but it's basically there's companies, the US government, a lot of universities are spraying what people called chemtrails back in the day. This is official now. they are spraying metallic particles, silver, aluminum, a few different metals into the atmosphere in hopes that two things. It will reflect sunlight, and the other thing is, you know what a cloud is?
A cloud,
Yes, define a cloud for me. What is a cloud?
dust, water vapor.
Dust, water vapor. So you need some kind of particle in the air that water vapor can collect. Dust happens to be like what natural clouds are, but you can artificially shoot out a bunch of fucking aluminum, which most dirt is made out of aluminum, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, sure, probably. But anyway, so they shoot these medical particles out, spray them out of the back of planes, and the moisture in the air clings to these particles and creates clouds. So like that's how they make it rain in Dubai once a week or whatever, you know. But the shit they're spraying in the air, what effect does that have on people? You know, because I never
Probably
voted.
none.
Well, maybe, but we never voted on it. You know, like, and if it's probably none, like, you know, I would like to see the studies that who voted. Like, yeah, we'll just spray everybody. You know, because that's like the air I breathe, my kids breathe, your kids breathe, everybody breathes it. Is it cool? I don't know. Because before, if you guys remember, back in the day, chemtrails was like, everyone's like, that's fucking conspiracy. That's not happening. Now it's like, yeah, it's happening and it's good for you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's fucking bananas. So, I don't know. So maybe that, I mean, the autism thing is undeniable at this point.
But to your point, like, who voted for that?
I didn't
No,
vote
I
for
didn't
that.
vote for that. Like, all these, especially like from like the boomer generation, or even going back all the way to like the Federal Reserve, like no one in modern society voted for any of this shit at all.
Well, theoretically, Dan, you voted for the people who voted for it. Theoretically. That's how a
Theoretically,
republic
I
works.
voted for the people that voted for it.
Yeah, that's how a republic works, right? You send a representative.
Right, but I didn't vote for the income tax in like 1917, right?
Which was supposed to be temporary.
Temporary.
1913, it just kept going.
So no, I didn't get to vote for any of this shit.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't vote for that $76 billion to Ukraine in the border bill? No? All right, well, it must be like a broken system or something. I don't know. Maybe there's only one way out. Anyway, so yeah, back to the vaccine stuff. I mean, are your kids vaccinated? Is that too
So no. So my daughter is 4. She will be 5 in May. We went to the pediatrician just literally like 2 weeks before she turned 4.
Okay.
And we were going there expecting to get her 4-year-old boosters or whatever. They're like, oh no, you can't. We can't give them to her until she turns 4. So you need to make another appointment and come back. So I was like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we left, and then that's when I started talking to my siblings about the vaccines and stuff, and started reading that book. I'm a very slow reader. I get distracted easily,
I guess.
which is why I'm still
There's
reading
not that many
book.
pictures in it?
No, there's no pictures. There are a few
shit.
tables though.
Sounds boring.
Yeah. So I need to actually read the book before I need to go back for her 5-year-old checkup. But so up until last year, my kids had all the scheduled vaccines and boosters. But going forward, things will be very different.
Yeah, and then, dude, my wife is a RN and a nurse, and our doctor, she got pretty fucking weird, and the nurses get weird too. Like from my daughter when she was born, we were like, we don't want any. Do not fucking inject them with shit. Do not inject her with shit. Don't rub that shit in their eyes. Don't maybe a vitamin K shot. I don't even think we got the vitamin K. I don't remember, but we didn't. We explicitly told them don't rub the shit in their eyes, which I guess is supposed to. If you look into that, the shit, the goop they're rubbing kids' eyes has something to do with like it's an antibiotic. Like if your wife has some kind of infection or something, like it protects them from that. But if they do all the STD panels, then why are you doing that? Because my understanding, our ancestors were dying of eye infections en masse. You know what I mean, from their vaginal births.
No, they died during the childbirth.
Well, I mean that still happens even today in America. It's not good numbers, but anyway, so yeah, we our daughter's completely raw. My son has a couple of vaccines. I mean, we're worried. He doesn't seem to be autistic, but I don't know what the signs are. He yells and cries a lot, but I think that's just
normal. Was he 4?
He's 4 or 5. He just turned 5.
Oh, yeah, no, it's completely normal.
You would know, right?
My kid's mildly autistic, and I knew it. Like he hit 1, and I knew it.
Do you
like,
think it was related to anything particular?
Dude, I can't prove it. Like
Yeah.
I like to go like definitive or something that I'm really, really certain on. He got the vaccines because like I wasn't all in on everything that was going
Of
on.
course. Yeah.
And he got a high fever and he screamed. And so that's all I can't attribute it. That
After a vaccine, he got a high fever and scream.
yeah, after his second round of it.
Do you remember which one it was?
No.
Yeah,
no.
dude. Damn.
But and then like I knew like your kid's not. I can
No?
tell. Yeah.
Okay.
My kid, it was like, and my kid's got mild autism. You could talk to him like if you see him walking, you don't realize he's autistic.
Yeah.
Like right, if you just see him boom walking around, just
Oh,
like,
dude, we're both on the spectrum.
Right.
I can tell by the way we focus on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
shit.
But like if you talk to him, you pick it up right away. Like oh yeah,
Okay.
there's something off on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, dude, that's a crazy thing when you're a parent because you want to protect your kid. You know,
Yeah.
like you want to do the best thing. You're like, I don't know. And your dad's a doctor. That makes you a doctor, basically.
So 100%.
So like, so did your dad was like, does he give you shit for like, oh, you need to give him the MMR vaccine?
No. So actually, through COVID and everything, he's
Okay.
leans more towards the don't vaccinate at all.
Did your dad get red pilled during COVID? Oh my god.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, dude. I don't know. The medical system, like, do you think there's this thing, because your dad's a doctor, there's a thing where, like, in our society, doctors are kind of like a priest class, right? Like, they're kind of like seen as like, oh, he's got a lab coat on. Of course he must know. He must know what he's saying is true. He's not going to lie to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that got ruined for me. I was super into fitness, you know. I've been super into fitness for a long time and eating, and I knew what successful athletes were eating like. And I had a conversation with a doctor one time who was trying to tell me, don't lift heavy weights. It's bad for your joints. I'm like, the fuck are you? And the doctor who told me that was like,
Well, dude, I mean, look at
fit.
look at a lot of the RNs you see nowadays. They'll sit down and it'll be like the same size as you and me together,
Yeah, they're jacked. I mean, there's just so many jacked RNs now.
and they want to give me
Advice, yeah.
advice on maintaining an active lifestyle.
So, like, do you feel like that? Like your dad, like, was he treated as like, oh shit, your dad's a doctor? He's,
Well,
you know,
I mean, that's so. I don't know if you know this, but my dad's a doctor.
I've heard, you know.
And like, I mean, I guess I don't think the analogy is working well for you because he's like actually, does his own research and is like, hey, no, this is wrong. And like like I said, same thing as all of us, was threatened with termination.
Yeah.
With all of that. Like he was actually told by his employer at the time that he could not post his views on the jab online.
Yeah.
Which,
if you don't mind, do you work for like a major company? Like
it was like a regional hospital.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, I mean, I don't necessarily think that all the doctors are lying to us. I think it's more the information they're given is inaccurate and they just believe it.
So how many people do you think that we work with that are actually squared away when it comes to like INA law? You know what I mean? Like how many people are doing continuing education, like really sticking with it, you know?
Well, I mean, we get trainings every year online.
Of course, you're right. We do those, but how many people take those seriously? Like it's got to be the same for doctors, right?
No comment.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's got to be the same for doctors, right? Like there's a certain percentage of doctors who really care, who want to help people and like read on their own time, will go to like seminars and shit like that. And then you have to have doctors that are more like, they pass with a 71 and now they're a doctor, or whatever the fuck.
So yeah, I mean, they're like, they do have continuing education requirements. Now it's also like, all right, what type of continuing education are you taking and how much are you
I wonder who mandates those. Like, if it's government mandated, that's going to be some.
No. It is like with the medical board like that.
Dan, can you come take over for a second, dude? I gotta take a piss.
That is so through the medical board, like for whatever. I'm not sure exactly, if it's state or nationwide. They do require continuing education. Now, like there is leeway with what conferences and stuff you go to for your continuing education, but. Again, it's like, all right, what types are you going to see or going to listen to, and what are you actually paying attention? Are you actually sitting through the whole thing? And my dad has been through some good ones. I'm sure they've been through bad ones as well. But like one of them, one of them they went to was for, one of the speakers is a huge advocate for the carnivore diet, where it's just this guy only eats meat. He doesn't eat anything else. and like you go to a regular dietitian or like one of those plus sized RNs, you say, "Oh, I'm just eating meat," or "I'm just eating meat and fruit," or whatever.
You want to talk about the most destructive thing ever done to the people of the United States? The food pyramid.
Yeah, 100%.
The food pyramid.
Oh, you need 6 times as many servings of breads and grains as you do healthy fat. It's complete hogwash.
Yeah, if you need to look and be like, the government is not worried about your health, you just look at the food pyramid. And isn't what is it, the AMA, American Medical Association? Is that like the board that certifies doctors? There's a bunch of the boards that are certifying the doctors and whatnot that you get your like medical license from. It's all funded by the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, all that. Like back in when they broke up Standard Oil, they threw a ton of money into the education and health.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty. Well, I'll dig more on it, but I'm pretty sure that you're like AMA and whatnot. It's like the CDC, the FDA. They're not 100% funded by the federal government. You have the hand of like these endowments and whatnot all in on them. So you have that outside business interest that is always tainting it. I treat doctors, man, like mechanics. You find a good mechanic, it's great.
Yeah.
If you don't like the mechanic,
and barbers.
Barber, same thing. You don't like the barber, you don't like the mechanic, you don't go back to it.
Nope.
You go to a different place. You don't like the opinion of it, go get a different opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Find a doctor that'll work for you, because there is a lot of outside influence and pressure. I mean, just look at the amount of money that the jab this generated, right, for these people. They're under financial incentives, and that's kind of like, for all the U.S. is the way right on the cast. We slid right on that casting couch there. The way the entire thing is set up has become completely corrupted by financial interests. So that's how I kind of look at doctors. But yeah, look into the Mark. You may know this, like the AMA and whatnot is funded by like endowments from like the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the American Medical Association.
They ask me anything.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah,
if only somebody here was like had a doctor as like a family member that might know.
No, this is deep dive conspiracy stuff. This is like going back to when they broke up like Standard Oil and whatnot.
I know that's about the time that they figured out that most medications can be made into petroleum.
Petroleum,
products.
yeah. Rockefeller dumped a ton of money.
Made from petroleum products.
Yeah.
What I say?
Into.
You're right.
Yeah.
So actually, you know what? I think that actually is touched on the vaccine friendly plan.
What's touched on?
The petroleum products.
Oh shit!
Being made into vaccines.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because you haven't read 6 pages in the book.
Dude, I can't believe that you're not like. I have pretty much handed the crown. I think I've handed the crown of schizo to you. Like and I can't believe that you're like. I'm almost about to take it back. That you're not in on this.
Well, I mean, if you're asking a
No,
if you're asking a non-biased observer, you never should have gotten rid of that crown.
I never should have gotten rid of that crown.
Not even close.
There's only so much bandwidth, Dan. I can't. I mean, you have Alex Jones, and I'm 1/10 of 1% of Alex Jones. You know what I mean? I can only maintain so much shit in my fucking brain. I can talk about the petrodollar. I can talk about fucking our history with X, Y, and Z, like for all kinds of shit. Even Rockefeller, I can talk about like when that oil busted him and why monopolies are not very naturally occurring. They genuinely take state intervention.
Yeah.
I can talk about all that kind of shit and libertarian philosophy and all that stuff. But yeah, the AMA, not 100.
Yeah, I'll dig on that. I'm pretty sure that.
Talk about it right now.
I don't want to go drop like I'm not even sure.
He has to Google it.
Yeah, no, I gotta look into it. But I know that when Standard Oil got broken up and they hit them up with like the Sherman Antitrust Act and all that kind of things, they dropped a ton of money into education, Department of Education, and health. Like all the health services, like your certifying board of doctors and whatnot.
Oh, if you want to look into who writes the medical books, like who writes the medical textbooks, it largely comes out of pharmaceutical companies and reps that write that shit. I mean, it's bananas.
Yeah, RFK was just talking about this at his rally there, and
what was that rally about? I mean,
it was him trying to get signatures to get on the ballot in Arizona. I went because Jesse the Body Ventura was there. Yeah, dude, Jesse the Body's hilarious.
What did he say? I choked. Oh no, Chris Kyle choked me out or whatever. So like, RFK wants to get on. He's trying to get on through the Libertarian Party, which for all my libertarians out there, he's not a libertarian. I don't think there's any risk. No libertarian. The party is not, as a state, I'm going to go to national to be a delegate for the Libertarian Party. He's not going to be a representative for the Libertarian Party. He's not going to be a candidate. I don't think that's going to be a thing. You know what I mean? Because he's not libertarian. Like, he's libertarian on like the vaccine and maybe the war in Ukraine, but he fucking was totally cool with them leveling Gaza, apparently. Or, it's I don't know, he's not a libertarian. He's bad on gun rights too.
Yeah, if he wanted the libertarian thing, they'd have to like make him sign some sort of agreement.
There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
I know, but then you get to the executive branch, and then they just do whatever they want. He was talking though about what is it, the CDC or the CDC and NIH, where they own the patents. They own patents for all this stuff, and they're making money off the patents. So, and then the employees, like the mRNA vaccine, there's 6 employees, I want to say from the NIH, that are going to get $150,000 forever, every year, just on the royalty rights of all this. So you have like this, there's definitely this money interest that has corrupted the, it's everywhere, but the medical, recently in the recent years with the medical industry where you see it.
Everybody knows about the revolving door between the government and the private sector. There's not one that is more egregious, especially recently, than the FDA, like government officials going from the government to the FDA, or vice versa, going from the FDA to the government. So now they're overseeing companies that they used to be on the boards for or hold high positions for.
Right, and that's the downside. Like Dave's dad there, right? Actually having like, oh hey, like this is what I was seeing, and like anyone with you look at the mRNA, you read some literature on the mRNA. I had like financial filings from Moderna back from 2018. They were like, we may go bankrupt because we're a decade away from having our mRNA vaccines things like ready, and that was in 2018. The whole entire like corporate public partnership, public private partnership, that's just fascism. That's all it is. It's just the private sector and the government getting in bed together, and they literally just jump back and forth and be like, I'm using my private sector hat, oh I'm using my public sector hat, and that's all it is, man. Yeah. And they don't, once again, they don't care about you, they don't care about your family, they don't care about your community. You got to care about your community. You got to get together inside your community and have a group of people, because there are a ton of interests that just treat you like cattle.
So we have not a normie here, but someone who's maybe not as autistic as me and Dan. To what degree, Dave, are you hip to the state of the state, and are you preparing at all in any way? Like maybe you have some fucking freeze-dried berries in a bucket somewhere or something. Like, why are you doing anything? Like, do you see what do you see as the future of how the system is going?
Which system? Like just the society
in general? Yeah, the state and direction of the United States of America.
So I heard you guys talking about this earlier. I'm a big well, not as big as my brother-in-law, but I'm a big advocate of Bitcoin.
And a registered Democrat.
No, I'm not registered with any party. You guys were talking about cryptos in general. If it's not Bitcoin, then it's a shit coin. Like, don't waste your time with anything else.
How dare you?
Bitcoin is.
I made good money on Dogecoin.
I'm not saying you can't speculate and make money, but for like comparing anything to digital gold,
for me,
Bitcoin is the only one. It's the only one where it cannot be inflated. Everything else they can go in and change the source code to create more of it. Bitcoin is the only one where they can't go out and create more. There's a set number.
It's like a ledger.
So you're talking about the Nancy Pelosi autopilot app, which is one thing, but yeah, I'd say more you're looking at your way of going.
No. The autopilot thing is, hey, Nancy Pelosi does not inside trade.
Right. I get that, but what I'm saying is that your way of prepping for what's coming down the road is fine. You're looking at more of the financial side. I'm looking at
financial side. I'm not obviously jumping in, feet first. I'm not like bait. I'm not crashing my credit score.
You need to go where you are. You need to go full in. No, full send. run through the wall.
The FBI is already going to look into you because
Yeah,
you're sitting here
yeah,
between me and Dan. So you might as well just say what you think.
Add him on the casting couch for the picture.
I mean, I don't think that things are as bad off as you guys do. I could be mistaken. Hopefully not. I'm slowly investing into Bitcoin as a safety net, and because I think that even if society doesn't crash, that Bitcoin will be the future. For
what I don't like about it, and this is, and maybe we can get like I said, I got two dudes that are real crypto dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Is I don't like relying on anything that is digital, even to the point where I've started taking out more and more cash and paying with cash on things.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, we saw in Canada how they were able to shut everyone's bank accounts down, and then and going back to like, oh, that was totally illegal, and Trudeau's walking away scot free on it, and then Bitcoin, just the like, I don't think they'd hack the code. Like, from what I've read and understood, the being able to mess with the blockchain is next to impossible. But in order
to mess with the blockchain, you would have to get every single user to recognize that, change in the code, and accept it.
What I think the problem is that for ease of use, is you're on these big like Coinbase, Binance.
So no, I'm not on any of that. Like,
so you have a cold wallet? Or...
No, I'm not on cold storage yet. I do need, when I get time.
I think that's what needs to go really in order for this crypto to take off, decentralized currency, which I'm all for it. I'm all about breaking the power structure in the middle. Is we need an ability that they can't even shut off. Like, if it's a wallet or like a thumb drive, something that you can carry on your physical person, that they can't zap from the stratosphere, that you can use it, right? No matter what. I think that, and the cold wallet is the closest thing I know to it. But even that is like, how do I roll up to a card reader, right?
So, I mean, you like a lot of places, like even in Africa, they've got, using the Lightning Network or whatever, they've got it so you can pay from your phone. You send Bitcoin on that. Now, granted, you don't want to keep your whole egg or your whole nest egg or whatever in one spot.
So once again, the phones though, is that technology.
So like in your response, like keep a couple $100 worth of Bitcoin on it and keep everything else in your cold wallet. And then just make the transfer as you need. Because
if I'm a government actor and I want to screw with you, and I can't, and I agree with from what I've read on Bitcoin, like it would be next to impossible to go and hack it or this, that, the other thing. So I don't attack the Bitcoin. I attack the supporting elements around it. I support and I make it difficult for you to use that way. That's the way I would fuck with this cryptocurrency thing.
Is there an equivalent in Bitcoin to having cash in your mattress? You know what I mean?
So the problem with the cash is they can inflate it. It'd be more like having gold in your mattress.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. All right. So is there a way to be like Senator Mendez from New Jersey, my home state, and have Egyptian gold under your mattress? Is there a Bitcoin equivalent of having Egyptian gold bars?
I don't believe so.
There is not. Right. So that's where. That's where we got to get these other guys, and we got to get with that, because I think that is a game changer. And these guys told me about Bitcoin in like 2012. I was like, "Yo, they're gonna kill you because you're messing with the Fed Reserve."
Oh, dude, I first heard about it in like 2010, 2011. I was like, "Digital currency? That sounds retarded."
Yeah,
I give me some greenbacks, something that is valid.
Petrodollars,
right? I knew about the Fed back then, even, and like Ron Paul really put me onto that kind of stuff, and. I think that if that they haven't gone and crushed it because they feel they can control it by, like I said, attacking the supporting elements around it. And the Bitcoin people, all you Bitcoin heads that are listening to the One Way Out podcast, you want to help. You want to it's not just being all tactical or whatnot. You want to help develop something like that. Develop your Egyptian gold bars under the mattress of Bitcoin, right? Everyone has different skills. We talked about this earlier. Everyone has different abilities. If you're good with Bitcoin and like make a way that like I can have just like a credit card, that I have a credit card and that's got Bitcoin on it.
So there is a dude that goes to, his kids used to go to 10th Planet. He works for a company called Fold, and it is like a Bitcoin debit card.
Fold. All right, we're gonna have to look into that.
I mean, as far as I know, they have ATMs. They have cards. Bitcoin is the official currency of like some countries.
I think it was like Costa
El
Rica or
Salvador.
something. El Salvador.
Yeah, that guy just got reelected by a landslide too.
It is because he dropped. He's like
Kill
he's got
all
a
the
he's got a
gamers.
murder rate the same as Idaho now.
Right. Yeah, I know. Literally, that's my like. He's my dream candidate over Millet.
Right. So granted, that dude did do away with a lot of personal rights. Like there was no respect to privacy or anything when they were doing the crackdowns. But
yeah,
I mean
that's what martial law essentially,
Yeah.
right? But at a certain point, it's gonna get worse and worse, and it's gonna come to a head. But the Bitcoin, like that Fold company thing there, I'd like to see more on it because for example, we don't message on anything but Signal, which we know from the Vault 7 drops that they can get into, right? But it's high level agencies that are able to get NSA, CIA, maybe the FBI, right? That they can get in on that stuff. All these companies, they have these private public partnerships with the government, right? So like Apple, for example, the government doesn't need a warrant to go get your text messages. They just go to Apple and say, hey, give me all the data on this dude's cloud and phone and this thing, and he rolls it over. So that's always my worry with these companies is like, yeah, you make this company. Yeah, the idea of a company is to make money. Like, how do we get something made? And there is no the government. There's no door for the government to go knock on and twist an arm.
So right? I think I lent you a book a little while ago.
I have not read it.
I know. I know you haven't.
Yeah.
It's called the Bitcoin Standard, and it goes into a lot of the protections and how secure Bitcoin is. I haven't read it in a year or two now, so I can't.
Yeah. Once again, dude, I think Bitcoin, the whole entire idea.
No, but I mean, I think a lot of like hey, we need this, and this in order for it to be secure. I think it covers a bunch of that in the book.
Oh shit! I didn't know you were that deep into Bitcoin.
Oh, bro, you should talk to my brother-in-law.
We're gonna have to do a Bitcoin episode because this is already.
We definitely need a Bitcoin expert, and we're gonna roll on that because I think it's the key tool that they're using for all this bullshit that is going on in the world is the U.S. dollar, which is the Federal Reserve. They just keep on printing money left and right, and that's how they're getting things done. That's how they're buying people off and making shit happen.
The petrodollar is the cornerstone of the U.S. I think that's what Putin said. He's the cornerstone of U.S. policy is the dollar, and then the other cornerstone, the other side of that is going to be our military. So people will be like, "What is the dollar backed up by?" Aircraft carriers is what it's backed up by, really. But people, that's what it's backed up by. Anyway.
I miss when I was like all fucking gung ho U.S. Like sometimes I like Toby Keith just died, right? And and like remember like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude.
Really?
Remember? Yeah,
No.
Stomach cancer, bro.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude. So like he just died, and I remember like after 9/11 because I'm from Jersey. Like I have a picture of me when I was a kid in front of the Twin Towers, right? Shit. I was fucking Star Spangled Banner shooting out of my ass, like that's. So like I hear like, oh yeah, what's the U.S. dollar backed by? The 7th aircraft carrier group, like America, fuck yeah.
No, the biggest mistake the U.S. did with regards to the economy, or with currency, is taking us off the gold standard.
Yeah, but they did that like what?
The Nixon.
Yeah, that was the 70s, right?
Yeah, like I said, it's a huge mistake.
Yeah, no, that wasn't a mistake, bro.
No. It was a mistake for the common man.
Yeah. It was for the boys in charge. That was not a mistake. No. Yeah.
You mean I have unlimited resources to wage every war that I want? And because before I had to be backed by as much gold as you had, but now you're not tethered to gold anymore. Printing press goes brrr, you know what I mean?
Brrr.
Yeah, it's the only way we can afford to be the empire that we are is because we got off the gold standard.
Just ask the Weimar Republic.
That's Germany for anyone who doesn't know. Anyway, we've gone way over, so we'll have to do another episode on this. Anything you want to say, about COVID or how brave you were about, not getting the vaccine?
True American hero.
COVID's ridiculous. It's less deadly than the flu. Thank you to Dan and my dad. I don't know if you know this. My dad's a doctor.
Oh.
Thank you to both of you guys for, providing me the information and support to not get the jab when my job and career and way of providing for my family was endangered, and I'm glad I don't have to worry about a heart attack from that.
Damn, Dan, you saved this man's life. I didn't know that. All right.
Hey,
one way out.
One way out for everyone of a certain mind. And then for all you vaccine-loving, COVID, mask-wearing, transgender, necrophiliac, dance study majors, don't forget to get your booster.
Nice.